Hello. Today we're going to be reviewing area, perimeter, and circumference. So if you were here yesterday, this is just a review of what we did yesterday, but I'm adding in word problems. And if you weren't here yesterday, then this is mainly for you to help you with your homework assignment and the worksheet today. And we're reviewing area and perimeter because we're going to be dealing with that on Thursday when we start our zoo project. So this first question says, a garden is shaped like a rectangle with a length of 12 meters and a width of 8 meters. Find the area and perimeter. So my key word is rectangle. And so since it's a rectangle, I know my formula for area of a rectangle is A equals length times width. Okay. And it gives me the length, which is 12 meters, and the width is 8 meters. So we're going to have 12 times 8. And you can use your calculator today. You can use it the entire day, on the notes, on the homework, anything you need to. And so we would multiply 12 times 8, and we would get 96. And since it is area, it's going to be meters squared. So for the area, it's 96 meters squared. And then for perimeter, we add all of our sides together. And so we know we have 12 and 8, and that's just two sides though, and a rectangle has 4 sides. So we'd also get 12 and 8 again. So we'd add 12 plus 8 plus 12 plus 8. And I know 12 plus 8 is 20. And so we'd get 20 plus 20, which is 40. So we get 40 meters. In perimeter, we do not square, so that would be our final answer. I want you to make sure you're paying attention to the difference between area and perimeter. So if you need to label that this is area and this is perimeter, then do that if you need to. Okay. So on this next one, it says a triangular flag has a base of 12 inches and a height of 9 inches. The other two sides measure 10 inches each. What is the area and perimeter? So with this one, it's a little harder to visualize. So if it were me, I would start with a picture of it. So it's a triangle, and it says it has a base of 12 inches and a height of 9 inches. So if the base is 12, I'd put that there. That 9 doesn't mean it goes there. Okay, remember, when we do height of a triangle, it has to create that right angle. And so this would be 9. Okay, the height of the triangle is 9 because it has to create that right angle right there. And these don't create right angles. Okay, those are acute angles. So it also says the other two sides measure 10 inches each. So that means this side is 10 and this side is 10. And now it's asking for the area and perimeter. So for the area of a triangle, it's going to be, our formula is A equals 1/2 times base times height. So similar to a rectangle, but we have to multiply by 1/2. And so the base of our triangle is 12. So we'd have 1/2 times 12. And then our height of our triangle is 9. And so I would multiply all three of those numbers. So you can put the whole thing in your calculator, but most of you know that half of 12 is 6. And so this would just be 6 times 9, which is 54. So we'd get 54 inches squared, and that would be our area. Now for the perimeter, we have to add all three sides. And 9 is not a side. 9 is the height of the triangle, but it's not a side. And so we would add 10 plus 10 plus 12, and that's going to get us the perimeter. Well, 10 plus 10 is 20, and then 20 plus 12 is 32. So we get 32 inches. So hopefully that's making sense. Now we're going to move on to circles. So a circular swimming pool has a diameter of 24 feet. What is the circumference and area? So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is the radius? Because our formulas we're going to use involve radius, because the area of a circle formula is A equals pi r squared. And our circumference formula is C equals 2 times pi times r. So those are my two formulas I'm going to use. And so in both of those, I need the radius. So if the diameter is 24 feet, how do I find my radius? Well, the radius is half of the diameter, so I need to divide that by 2. And so if the diameter is 24 feet, that means our radius is 12 feet. So that's the number we're going to be using when we solve these problems. So for the area, we have pi r squared. We know pi is 3.14. We just said our radius is 12, and we need to square it. So when I put that in my calculator, I'm going to do 12 squared times 3.14, but you can also do it in any order you would like. So if you did the whole thing as 3.14 times 12 squared, that works. And we're going to round to the hundredths place, and so we would get 452 and 1600ths feet squared. And that's our answer. So that would be the area of the circle. Now for circumference, we have 2, and then our pi, which is 3.14, and then our radius, which we said was 12. And so this one, we're not going to square anything. We're just going to multiply straight across. So 2 times 3.14 times 12. And we would get 75 and 3600ths feet. And that's our answer. So the next 3 questions are pretty much the same thing. So if you wanted to pause the video and try them on your own, you could, and then fast forward to see if you got them correct. But if you're still struggling, then just pay attention. So a triangular park has sides measuring 15 meters, 13 meters, and 14 meters. The base is 14 meters and the height is 10 meters. It doesn't say it, but we're going to find the area and perimeter. So it's a triangular park, so I know I got to use my triangle formula. So that's A equals 1/2 times base times height. And I'm going to draw this over on the right, just so that I have a better understanding of it. And so it says, I'm going to start with the base and the height. So the base is 14, and the height is 10 meters. So just like the second one we did. Okay, so the height is 10. And then it says it has sides measuring 15, 13, and 14. So we already wrote the 14. And then on this other one, I'm going to write 15 and then 13 there. Okay, obviously it's not accurate. It wouldn't look like that, but it's fine. So now the base of my triangle is 14 and the height of my triangle is 10. So I need to plug that into our formula. So we'd have 1/2 times 14 times 10. You can plug the whole thing in your calculator, but half of 14 is 7, and then 7 times 10 is 70. So we'd get 70 meters squared as our answer. Now for the perimeter, remember the perimeter, we just add all 3 sides of the triangle. So that's 15 plus 13 plus 14. We don't add the 10 because that's not a side. Okay. So I know 15 plus 13 is 28, and then 28 plus 14 is 42. So we get 42 meters, and we don't square it because it's not area, it's perimeter. Next question. Tony wants new carpet in his living room. The room has a length of 12 feet and a width of 18 feet. How many square feet of carpet will he need? So this one, you got to ask yourself, it's saying how many square feet of carpet will he need? So is this asking for perimeter or area? Okay. Well, first of all, your keyword is square feet. The only thing we square is area. So it's asking for area because remember, area is the inside of the shape. So it's how much the shape covers, whereas perimeter is the outside. It's like putting up a fence. So we're trying to find the area, and it doesn't say that it's a rectangle, but it is. So we need to do A equals length times width. Our length is 12 feet, and our width is 18 feet. So we're going to do 12 times 18. And you're going to multiply those, and you would get 216 feet squared. All right, last question. A candle has a radius of 4 inches. Find the area and circumference. So this is like this example that we did, but it already gives us the radius. It tells us that the radius is 4 inches, and so that's the number that we get to use. So we don't have to divide anything by 2 because it already gave us the radius. So we're going to solve it just like we did the other one. So we have A equals pi r squared, and then we have C equals 2 times pi times r. So pi is 3.14. And our radius is 4, and we have to square it. So in your calculator, you would do 3.14 times 4 squared. And you would get 50 and 24 hundredths inches squared. And then last thing for circumference, we have 2 times pi times r, so we keep the 2. Pi is 3.14, and then our radius is 4. So you would do 2 times 3.14 times 4, and you would get 25 and 12 hundredths, and this one would just be inches. And we're done. Let me know if you guys have questions. The homework is exactly like this.